decide he has a bad smell, she has a bad smell, then you wonder, why would I keep to this girl with this bad smell, this man with bad smell? And there are so many people after me. There are so many girls out there and they want me. I mean, everybody at that age, they are hot. They are hot, like a hot cake. And if they know, they turn this way, una mtu. Hata ni venye tu uko na yeye, that is why haja.
Hello, welcome and welcome back to our YouTube channel, and thank you for tapping in the conversation with Dr. Sabina on mental self-efficacy. And as always, we are glad to have you, and we are thankful for all the support we have been getting from all our viewers. Continue tapping into these conversations, and don't forget to write down pale vocal comments what you think about what we've talked about today and any additional information that might be helpful to our audience of the day. Now, today we are discussing a matter that comes to heart to almost all of us. We are discussing stories of love, and particularly we are discussing stories of breakup. What causes these breakups? How do you go about in breakups? What should you do before and after in this whole scenario and the whole thing? And like I said, our voice of expert is always Dr. Sabina, who has had over 20 years of experience dealing with adolescents, and she's always going to be giving us her point of view based on those years of experience. Now, that being said, let us begin. And I guess our first question to Dr. Sabina today would have to be, what causes breakups?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I will start by very basically saying that the romantic relationships are not broken by major things. They are usually very small and very basic. And to start with, I will divide them into several numbers or several groups and the like. And the first one is infatuation. I know you wonder what I mean by infatuation. A person who is below 25 years goes through infatuation, where you feel strongly attracted to a person of the opposite sex, and the feelings are so strong, you believe you have fallen in love strongly with this person, and it is true, that is what everybody defines it. But because it is infatuation, it does not last. So these two people fall out of love because infatuation does not last. So if maybe what brought you together was infatuation and you did not know, then you can be sure one day it will go. That feeling, that strong feeling of love will go, and it is not anybody's to blame. And the sad thing about infatuation is that the moment it clears that clicking and that feeling strong about this one single girl or single boy, it just shifts. So it's not like dying, but it just shifts. So you get attracted strongly to another girl, you get attracted strongly to another boy, and so for sure the relationship cannot survive if you're already attracted to yet another person, and that so it becomes now a triangle. There's somebody else and there's nothing you can do. We blame them and the like, but we shall see why we should not blame them. So one of them is because some of the foundation of this romantic relationship was an infatuation and you did not get to know about it. So there's nothing that you can do. It's beyond you. It's beyond you. That is number one. Number two, sex. I know young people will just feel that this is an old school of thought, but sex kills a romantic relationship for people at that age. What do I mean? When you meet this girl, when you meet this boy, and you are feeling strongly attracted to them, this also desire, a strong desire to go all the way, and you feel like, I love this person, I can give everything to this person. The same case with the other person. But there's that thing that yet you've not given him or her. You have not yet known each other carnally, or that kind of carnal knowledge. It gives that kind of a desire to know and stick with this girl, stick with this boy, feeling that I really want to discover her. But when you have sex with this boy, you have sex with this girl, that desire goes out. There's nothing else to look forward to. That was the one of the many, or the major, strong feeling for the boy and a girl in a romantic relationship. Is that craving and all that, but it is no longer there. You have already discovered the person, and it just kills. And even in the Bible, there's a story told of a girl who was a daughter of King David, and another brother of hers, again, who was a son of King David, and the boy was strongly attracted to the sister, so badly so. And the moment he had sex with her, that craving just went. So some of the relationships, without knowing, are simply killed on that bed the day you accept to have sex outside marriage. So for me, I would tell young people, this is the one thing I would tell people, if they can, to keep it off, so that that craving and the desire to keep on with the relationship, hoping that one day you will. Another factor that kills the relationship is the knowledge that there's nothing tying you. A relationship is not marriage. And so you are not ready to compromise. Your bar is up there. Let me give you an example that you may find very interesting. Suppose you have you are with your boyfriend or your girlfriend out there. You are in a group of people, 10 people, your friends, and you are showing off this friend of yours. Oh, I had some tall man, oh, my beautiful girl, and all that. And then this boy or girl passes here just openly and loudly. You know, it's you know that gas, and I may pass loudly.
How are you passing loudly? How are you passing loudly?
I know you are even wondering
how somebody
you are wondering how somebody can do that in public. And it is so embarrassing. You know what?
What is passing loudly? I think I'm confused.
It's that, okay, they are passing gas the normal way.
Oh, so they're farting.
Exactly, and loud. You know, and loud, so embarrassing. If you imagine of it, it's so embarrassing, and you feel like, oh no. So now you ask yourself, my goodness, is anything tying me to this young man? Is there anything tying me to this girl with her behavior? And you are likely to, your heart just starts melting away and going away. You feel like you're already walking away, although you will not tell him on the face there, then I'm through. But you can see, you can be sure your heart has started a journey of walking away from this man. And he, in the same case, the other partner would do the same. The heart just simply starts walking away, and they start noticing, oh, and she was not tall enough. Oh, because of that small thing. But let me ask you now, suppose you are tied in a marriage, you have already sworn for good or worse, and he does that twice, not once but twice. Are you sure you will break and call it an end because he did that in public? You're not likely to do that. Or what you're likely to do is maybe avoid going with him to public places, but you are not going to divorce him just because he did that. But for a relationship, that is enough. It is enough to end it. So what am I saying? The fact that you feel you are not tied to him, you're likely, or to her, you're likely to see small things that you would otherwise not see and magnify them, which you would have overlooked, but you are not now likely to overlook. After all, what is tying you to this kind of a person? Now the third one is the feeling of importance of this partner. I mean, everybody at that age, they are hot. They are hot, like a hot cake. And if they know, they turn this way, una mtu. Hata ni venye tu uko na yeye, that is why hajaenda kwa mwingine.
What do you mean by you're hot?
You're hot like this. At that age, people know you are not, you are not married. And they even have a hope.
You have choices.
There are many people who have, because by the way, nature has it that it makes you conspicuous at that age group. It's not even your choice. Whether you dress or not, you be conspicuous. And men are noticing you. The ladies are noticing you. So there are people, you turn this way, unachokozwa, huyu mwingine. So in other words, you're feeling,
you're important.
Importance.
Hapa hivi.
Yes. And so you are wondering, nasumbuliwa na msichana hapa na venye wengi wamelaina wakinigojea. So that feeling, your ego is quite high there, and feeling like, okay, you are a person, you are important, then you will not accept to be kusumbuliwa, like I have said. You will not accept to be bothered.
You're saying not frustrations.
Small things. Higher. Now, let's say you decide to kiss just by accident, because I also don't even think I want to talk about that. And you decide he has a bad smell. She has a bad smell. Then you wonder, why would I give to this girl with this bad smell, this man with bad smell? And there are so many people after me. There are so many girls out there and they want me. So you see that kind of thing, because you feel so important, you cannot take anything less than your bar, the way you have set it up, because of the feeling that you are important. Okay, and then now we have another problem, or another thing that causes breakups, and this is expectations. There are expectations, and these ones are not even natural. It is you who create them without you. Here you have your boyfriend. This boyfriend is going to promise you heaven. Oh my dear, I would even buy a plane for you. I don't want to see you walking. How can you walk when I'm working? How can you do another? So he and the girl promises also equally. I wouldn't imagine you sleeping hungry. I don't know what and all that. So these promises, some are in short term. They are not even during marriage. You're promising each other at that courtship. Now, when you promise, you make this person create expectations, come up with expectations like, okay, if somebody told me they would never want to me here, I slept hungry, then he's giving me a right to call him and tell him, I don't have food for tonight. Because you know, as he was promising, he didn't think much about the implication. Yeah. So now you start weighing it against. You know, the promises become like a standard, and anything that's done on you or for you or whatever, you weigh it against those expectations based on the promises, okay? So if somebody told you they would never imagine you walking, they are queen walking, and here you are requesting for a motorbike fee of 50 bob, and the person says he doesn't even have it, and please just walk to exercise. You find him as a man of double standards.
Yes.
And what made him a man of double standards? Because he opened his mouth and promised. Had he not promised anything, then you would not even see him as a man of double standards. Yes. So the promises that people make act also as a catalyst to break the relationships. They raise the bar, they raise the standards, and it becomes a problem. And that
it's not just the promises that break these relationships. When it also comes to things like expectations, like you have not been promised, but you are here expecting because maybe you have seen these things happen in, like, for instance, if I have seen my parents doing these things for each other, I generally assume that the partner that I will be having, based on the experience that I have beforehand, I expect them to behave a certain way. If this is how it is done in my home, then I expect it to be done to me in the same way. There was this person I met, and they kept telling me all of their lives, their parents ameishi kukula nyama, mamake ameishi kukula nyama, na mama nyama inaletangwa na babake every single day. So this person has some experience beforehand of how things are normally done, and according to them, this is how things should be done. So they don't understand why you don't bring nyama. They don't understand. It doesn't make sense to them. You know, it doesn't make any sense. So it's important to understand that these expectations do not just come from the promises. It also comes from pressure from young ones, right, Dr. Sabina? Yeah, your friend has the significant other driving them to wherever they want to go, and you guys cannot even afford to give you money to Panda Nduthi, you know. It becomes such a problem when you cannot be given 50 shillings to Panda Nduthi. The other one is getting this. Alternatively, your friend has the girlfriend coming over every weekend to wash clothes, and your girlfriend is not able to wash clothes, so it becomes a really big problem. And I think that is how we should put those matters of expectations, at least in my own experience.
I agree with you that actually expectations are also there, but these expectations you're talking about are usually reinforced. They are reinforced now by or with these promises, okay? So if I have seen my father buy meat and everything like that, and we are talking about it, this one reinforces it. I'll not only be buying for you meat, my dear, I'll be cooking for you. I think I would make sure that I bring it cooked and ready. So you see that kind of thing. So there's a lot of reinforcement of these standards with promises. There's a lot of promises, and promises that don't hold water, if I may say, because they are quick to promise without weighing whether they will be able to meet those promises, as it were, and the like. I remember the former president, that is the President Daniel Arap Moi of Kenya. He used to tell the girls whenever he would visit a school that make sure that you are not lied to, because a boy will tell you that I will come, I will pass through fire, I will pass through waters, and make sure that I come to see you. Then he would say that the boy would write down there, and B, my dear, I'll come if it doesn't rain. Then you wonder, he has just finished promising how he can go through waters, through fire, to come and see you. And then hapo chini you anakuambia and B, I will come if it does not rain. Yeah. Just there is the same letter. He has changed the whole fashion of his promises and the like. I guess those are just some. Those are some. And not to forget the one now that people keep on quoting. We had what do you call it? Those differences that could never be dealt with. That's one of them, but you may be surprised it's not the major that actually causes the separation. Because in the first place, when you came together, what is the difference allowed you to come together? So these differences that arise means it was never there. It is other things that you are simply calling differences that cannot be reconciled and the like. So I would say those are the causes of breakups in romantic relationships.
Right. Thank you so much. That was very, very detailed. Very, very detailed. And I guess the ones that stood out for me was the inability for people to compromise. Inability for people to compromise. And I guess it comes with knowing that this is not permanent. It comes with knowing that this is not given that you're going to be with this person tomorrow. The basic fact that you also have other options makes you feel like you're being asked too much when you're being asked to compromise, and leads to a breakup. Now, Dr. Sabina, I also want you to tell us, how do we survive these breakups? Because if anything you've given us so far is that you have really good advice on how to circumvent the challenges of the youth. Now, the challenge at hand is we've gone through this heartbreak. It has been the worst thing ever. We have cried, for those of us that cry. And now we want to know, how do we survive? How do you survive after?
Thing is, as long as you are in a relationship under 25 years, even above, but anyway, under 25 years, I am not a prophet of doom, but that relationship has 50% of success and 50% of failure. So it can happen. So every time you get into a relationship and you are not married, you are not there for life and for good and bad, always have some part in you reminding you that this bae of mine can leave me anytime. I can leave him. You know, people always imagine breakup is when the other one actually leaves you. You can also realize that you need to leave him or her. So we are not talking about you being left. We are talking about these two partners leaving each other, and it could be you that might opt to leave, or it could be him or her that might opt to leave you. So always, so I want to say this: prepare, get to know that it can happen, so that if it happens, you are not caught in you don't get surprised. You know that already inside, at the back of my mind, I knew it can happen. Number two, remember that anybody can develop this kind of feeling of wanting to leave. So do not judge the person, even when you are so bitter that if it is the other person who has initiated breakup. Be reasonable and say that anybody, including me, could have initiated separation. You try to look for the little love that you have for this person, and it's all gone. Like we started by saying, it is infatuation. What will you do? Will you just pretend that you love them or the like? At that time, you're feeling and finding a lot of fault with your partner and the like. So just the same way you can wake up and feel like that, this other person can feel the same. So do not be bitter. Try to avoid that kind of bitterness, knowing it's not their fault. They are also victims. They found themselves out of love. They found themselves finding a lot of fault with you, and they had no such plans maybe as it were. Another thing is that you should always look forward or look forward to better times and the like. As long as you are a young person, you will always get to be noticed by others. So the fact that a relationship has ended, it's not enough that now that's the end of you. Other relationships will come up. You will also fall in love tomorrow. You will find greater reasons to stick with your other partner than the current one or than your ex. So don't cry about the fact that it has ended. Yes, you feel that kind of bitterness or sadness, but don't dwell on it. Look for better days ahead and look forward to having better relationships which are fulfilling and satisfying. Another thing that you need to do is to speak positively about this person, your ex. I know people are advised not to be friends. I'm not talking about you keeping him as a friend or her as a friend. But what I am saying, what you speak with your mouth will enter into your mind. Keep on saying how good he did or how nice it was for him to have broken up. So and so did well. John did well. He actually did well. Even before you know what else to tell yourself, start by opening your mouth and telling yourself loudly for your mind to hear. John did well to break with me. Because then when you start saying because, imagine other reasons will come as to why it is good. You'll find yourself saying because he gave me another chance to get to meet a better person. He gave me another chance to be free and maybe reassess myself in terms of relationships. In other words, the moment you open your mouth to say that he did well and add because, your mind will tend now to fill in. I don't know whether you have ever started a statement where you did not have the fill up. You didn't know what to fill it with and you just started like this. So and so did well to break up with me because ukifika hapo you'll find that you have some reasons here and there and keep repeating several times, coming up with many reasons, and anytime you feel bad about it, remind yourself that he did well, and bitterness just melts away with time. You will no longer be bitter with the person who initiated the breakup. But sometimes it is you who initiated it, but it is still hurting and you feel bad about it all. Also tell yourself that you did good. I did good, it was positive, it is beneficial to both of us, because when you get there you'll find reasons to fill that sentence and you will find that you think better than that, as it were. So that is what I would tell somebody. Do not just see as if it is the end of everything. There will be a better tomorrow, and be positive and don't make or think of him or her as an enemy. He or she is a victim of circumstances just like you are. Both of you are victims. And when you think positively about it, then it's gonna be well. And that is what I would say.
And with that, thank you, Dr. Sabina, for giving us your views on matters relationships and breakups. And I think we've taken a thing or two. And with that, we culminate the episode for today. Do not forget that it is not the end of the world. No matter how deep the heartbreak feels, understand that the reasons behind it were justified for the person and or for yourself, and look forward to better days. Thank you very much for joining us. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel. Make a point to comment and give us additional views so that we can circumvent the challenge of a heartbreak together.